We were amazed this week by the eclipse of the sun that we witnessed in our area, and it brought to mind those things in the life of the Christian that may eclipse God or His Son in our lives. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Wednesday. We were reminded on Monday that we must not let family eclipse our love and our service for God. Yesterday, we were reminded of the dangers that come with the love of money. Well, today, we will see those who are just enamored by this world around them and all that it has to offer. You see, the Apostle Paul mentions many fellow laborers in his writings. Some had traveled on those missionary journeys with him. Some had ministered in certain cities. Some had even ministered to Paul himself while he was in prison. One such laborer was a man named Demas, who is listed with Luke in a greeting written to the church at Colossae. Paul also mentions him in another letter to Philemon, and he sends greetings from Demas as well as Mark and Aristarchus and Luke, those who had been working with Paul whenever they met up with Onesimus, that runaway slave. I'm sure there were travels that they had endured together. They had taught and preached in certain cities along Paul's missionary journey. And these men were an encouragement to Paul even now while he is in prison. But in Paul's last recorded letter written to Timothy, Paul begs for Timothy to be diligent, to come to him quickly. And he mentions why that is. He's looking forward to Timothy's visit and his comfort in the imprisonment he had here. He said in 2 Timothy 4:10, "Come to me quickly, for Demas has forsaken me, having loved this present world, and he has departed for Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia. Titus has left for Dalmatia." But Paul's assessment of Demas and his devotion and service to the Lord haunts us even today. Demas has forsaken me, having loved this present world. You know, it may even be that Demas did not turn completely away from God or even forsake the ministry he had been called to. Some jokingly have said, maybe Demas just went back to Thessalonica to be a car salesman or something. Unfortunately, there's so many distractions and allurements presented by this world that we live in. In our church covenant, we promise to love and obey the Lord in all things, to avoid all appearance of evil, and to abstain from all sinful amusements and unholy conformity to this world. Even when the phrase is used in the New Testament, this world, it is almost always a reference to the things that Satan puts in our path to turn us away from God and God's will for our lives. 1 John 2 and verse 15 says, "Do not love the world or the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And the world consists of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life." And John reminds us in that passage that this world is passing away. But he who does the will of God, he says, abides forever. And we are called to continue in his work and in God's will. Perhaps Demas was just tired of this difficult work, or maybe the place where God had put him to serve. That's why Paul writes to young Timothy in 1 Timothy saying, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ." What can we do today to avoid the pitfall of allowing the world to eclipse God in our life? You know, the Bible teaches us, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And then go on to 2 John and says, love not the world. It would seem that the skill to remaining faithful has to do with our love and our passion in life. James even tells us, resist the devil and he will flee from you, but draw near to God and he will draw near to you. That seems to be our focus, or that needs to be our focus, to draw nearer to God every day. We must not let the allurements of this present world draw us away from God or eclipse him in our lives, but we must draw closer to him all the time.